Hello, my fellow readers. That I, Dark Symphony 777, with a fan fiction review. As always, link to the story will be in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts of the story, as well as any future fan fictions you want me to read or review. As always, this story will be my opinion. My opinion is not indicative of all of anyone else, and this story does have adult content. If you're under the age of 18, please try to avoid the story, or do not click on the link in the description. Viewer discretion is advised. So, now that that's out of the way, Anniversary by Bernie Wan Kenobi. It is the fourth story of the Island series, and honestly, I realize why I completely forgot about it. Because the story was pretty forgettable. It was a poor I found it was a poor follow-up to A Dangerous Mix. Dangerous Mix had a lot of things going for it. It had good characters, good pacing, a good antagonist introduced at the end in reasonable voice. The only thing I didn't like was it was really only part one of a plot, as well as the editing was atrocious. Anniversary, on the other hand, was completely forgettable. It was completely forgettable. So let's start with the plot. So the plot starts off in kind of a little bit after the events of A Dangerous Mix. Diamond Tiara is running through the Everfree Forest, comes across a Hayburger, enters Ponyville, comes across a Hayburger, and steals some burgers from Sips Sales because, of course, they work there. Logic. Of course they work there. And Diamond Tiara, she's kind of sick of having to eat commoner food and have be bullied and stuff like that. Despite the fact it's a military school, that's the whole point. If you're gonna get pissed off like that, because of the fact you're purposely sabotaging yourself to not do as well, like you're purposely not doing and acting like a stuck-up bitch, of course everyone is gonna hate you. And so, she gets arrested, and then Luna and Mac are trying to set up for their anniversary. They're gonna go to the island from the first story and say, hey, and then we get a flashback to when they got married. Then there's a sex scene. Okay, I'll talk about the sex scene and pace thing because I have a little bit of problem with the two sex scenes in the story. And then they find out, Diamond Tiara's in the police office, and then there's Reasonable Voice, who makes it very obvious she's a flat-out racist. Well, actually, she's kind of a hypocritical racist. I believe there's a term in modern day lexicon for someone like that. I believe it's called, not social justice warrior, something kind of like that, but, hypocrite. There's the word. She's a massive hypocrite. She's incredible. The story makes it obvious that she's very racist to any pony who's not, one, a unicorn, and two, not Celestia. And so she kind of, we kind of get the overall thing. Yeah, she still hates Luna. She doesn't like the fact that she can't control the school. And so Luna is like, I don't care. And so, Reasonable Voice, like, you can't let them, they're bullying this poor defenseless child. She's of course continuing on with the corrupt moral guardian. Diamond Tiara, of course, playing off with the whole, what's the name? This is the one I'm trying to remember. Oh yes, professional victim. She's a professional victim in this story. She's purposely trying to play the victim so she can get brownie points, so she can get those pats on the back, so she can get whatever she wants. I wonder what that looks like. What it sounds like. Some kind of actor from a show. Some kind of It's reminding me of a show about some guy who claimed he was attacked by two guys, and then had a news. I can't remember his name. I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, Luna immediately sees through the bullshit. It's like, Yeah, Reasonable Voice is playing a game. Luna knows that Diamond Tiara is up to something. So Reasonable Voice is trying to find some evidence. She gets like her entire group in there, like, hey, dig up anything you can. I want to be in control of the school, and Luna banished. But of course, she doesn't find jack shit. Meanwhile, Luna is kind of upset that that the anniversary is kind of called off because part of the law is she can't really leave Ponyville until the investigation's over. So it's like our anniversary is ruined. Big Mac is kind of angry over the simple fact, same thing. He goes to the cove, and we get a little sneak peek of Pip's treasure chest where, Mac runs into Pip, and he has a mail order bride. If you didn't read the review, or you didn't read Pip's treasure chest, Pip got Succubus, the Thestral, from the same mail order bride magazine. It's pretty obvious that he's already at the point where Mac meets him. Pip is probably about to make the call, or right after Aloe and Vera leave. About to make the call to order Succubus, leading into the events of that story. So that's nice. Nice little bit of continuity and foreshadowing to future events. And so not Aloe, Vera. I like those pony names, Aloe Vera. I actually really like those names. Orders, lets Big Man know, said, hey, you know what? We'll broker a deal. We'll let you have the spa all to yourself, all to you and Luna's self. And Big Mac, I actually like this scene. It's like, it has Big Mac contemplating. It's like, I wonder how expensive it's going to be. It's like, should I or shouldn't I? Is it worth it? And he's good to the and he's about to say no because he thinks he thinks they're going to ask for an exuberant amount of money. And then he's about to say no when she asks, all we want is some cider. And he goes, okay. And then absolute takedown on one of my least favorite scenes in the My Little Pony scene of the actual cartoon, where Vera actually openly admits that a lot of people are kind of her sister, and even hinting, if you read between the lines, hinting that a lot of people don't really like the idea of Pinkie Pie stealing all the cider. If you remember, the episode that introduced Flim and Flam, the scene actually opens with like this big line, and sorry about that. And Rainbow Dash, she's waiting in line, and then she sees Pinkie Pie at the beginning of the line, and the moment they start, Pinkie Pie, based on what we see, takes like literally half the cider in, and she starts rubbing it in Rainbow Dash's face. I didn't like that scene. I think overall that episode was kind of okay. Flim and Flam were passable and but I just did not like that scene. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Did you like that specific scene of Pinkie Pie just rubbing in the fact that she has all these ciders in Rainbow Dash's face and making it look like she's also rubbing it into everyone's face, and so nobody else can really share the cider? Because actually I believe there's a lot of early fan fictions when that episode comes out, of a lot of people not taking Pinkie's bullshit. And I believe there's even one story where Applejack like, no, Pinkie, stop taking all the cider. Let them. Like, but why? And then she pulled out a sign, one cup per customer. Or am I making that up that I want to see that? You know what? I actually want to see that. I actually want some Chrome guest star in that. Write a story that has Applejack putting a once per buy restriction on the cider, and Pinkie Pie getting desperate. It's like, I need the cider. I need the cider. And then we come back to Luna, kind of trying to doll of Reasonable Voice, and with a battle axe. And then, Pinkie Pie shows up, says, oh, Big Mac has a surprise for you. Okay, and then she goes. And then we get a super, super long sex scene. There's a little bit of start off of, Luna going to the spa. Big Mac kind of doing this whole thing for say, hey, we're gonna have a nice relaxing time. They try anal, they try tit fuck, they have sex, they have the whole 9 yards, the whole sexual buffet sort of thing. And then after that, it cuts to they go back to the Everfree Academy when the investigation, they didn't turn up Jackson aside from a few fines. Filthy Rich is there. Diamond Tiara comes in. She's like, Daddy. And then Filthy Rich flat out just told her, said, no, you're going to stay here. Otherwise, if you fail one more time, that's it. Cut out of the will, cut out of the purchases. You're gonna live on the. You're not going to. And when you leave, you're gonna be working at my store. And she's heartbroken. And then she starts blaming Luna. And Luna's like, no, this is your fault. You have one chance, and it ends with Diamond Tiara kind of asking why, and Luna's like, I believe in second chances, and Luna kind of breaking down, realizing that she has to put up with it. In terms of the plot, the duality of using two separate plots to kind of go between, it's jarring because because of how it's implemented. I think the plot could. Oh, there's my other Gas X. I think the plot could have been implemented better. The honeymoon. And combining it with, this investigation, I think that could have worked if it was implemented better. I think we could have had a better balance between the two. Like there's a couple more chapters, and each chapter kind of flip-flops between the plot, with Luna kind of getting sort of involved in each one, depending on what happens. Like one chapter, it's her and Big Mac kind of venting, and everyone kind of getting pissed off at Reasonable Voice and Diamond Tiara. Well, the next chapter is the investigation going on. I just think it wasn't handled as well as I think it could have been. The idea is there. The idea of using these two plots, they kind of flip-flop and intersect to each other. It's a sound concept, and it's okay for how for how it's done now. I just wish it should have been done better. Here's the main problem I have with the story. The characters. So, we have Luna, Big Mac, Tiara, and Reasonable Voice. And I guess Rude Voice, you kind of count her. Luna, she's angry. She's justifiably angry. That's fine. I have no problem with her. I have no problems with Big Mac trying to be the doting father and trying to, say, hey, let's try and make up for it. Let's try and do something to, make you happy. And that's okay, that's fine. Diamond Tiara, there is not enough screen time for Diamond Tiara. I think she would have worked better. Her character would have and should have worked better if she was given more screen time to play the professional victim, because in this story, it looked like that's what the route was going, with her, playing up being a victim, everything. It's just she wasn't there in the story enough to kind of warrant it, and she feels kind of flat in this story, unlike Dangerous Mix, where she comes off as very vindictive and wanting to blame everyone for her problems. It seems like a very bad 180. And then there's Reasonable Voice. Oh no! When I first read this story, I had such high hopes for Reasonable Voice. Reasonable Voice at the end of Dangerous Mix. The author did a good job with the small amount of screen reading time that Reasonable Voice was in. And I thought, okay, she's going to be a very good antagonist, except just like Diamond Tiara, the author completely butchers her character. Yeah, she still has the racist undertone, she still has, the holier-than-thou, corrupt moral guardian angle going on. But just like Diamond Tiara, she's not given enough screen time to really get a feel for her character. She comes off as flat just like Tiara. And that's a shame, because I really wanted to see what the author could do with her character. If she might show up again, I don't know, maybe. The author did hint that there might be another story kind of finishing up Tiara's story, which is fine. But I just really wish we could have seen more of Reasonable Voice's character. I think she was completely butchered to hell and high water. She needs to have more screen time. She needs to have more time for us to get to know her character. get to know what she's capable of, why she feels the way it is. She just feels like very flat, depending, in contrast to the previous story where, you know, she had such a little screen time, but she made a big impact. While in this story, the author tried to do the same thing, but didn't work so well. And then we got to the grammar. Grammar is fine. I didn't see any grammar error. Again, contrast with Dangerous Mix, where it needs to be edited. This one's actually better edited. I believe this was around the time where he actually got the editor. I believe it was the guy who actually recommended me review Pip's Treasure Chest. And that kind of happened. Go watch that video for that story, because that chronologically is the next story, and then Pip's Treasure Chest 2, which is going to be the next, which is going to be the last of the series until the one with Spike kind of finishes. It only just started, so I don't know how long that one is going to take. But we have a little fun. We have fun here. Pacing. I don't like the pacing of the story. I think the pacing needs to be a little slower. Not to mention in conjunction with the sex scenes. First off, there's 2 sex scenes. First one, the honeymoon one, does not need to be in the story. It does not. It has no purpose other than a sex scene. It's just a sex for sex sake. And you can easily cut that entire scene out, save a bunch of words, and nothing will happen. Like, literally nothing will happen. You can, and then there's the second sex scene. My problem with that sex scene, the whole, spa scene, it went on way too long. We had the little setup, and then we had about half, let's see. I'm actually on the page right now. You can't see it because I have no idea how to switch between, face cam and screen cam. Maybe I could figure out how to do both at the same time, like be in the corner and then be on the page. Maybe that'd be like in the future, and I'll probably have to work on it I'll probably have to figure something out if I can do it. So let's see if I can do. Okay, so the story kind of, where is it? Okay. It starts at halfway through the second chapter. And the second chapter is around 1,500 words long. Let me double check. It's about 15,930 words. And it starts at the very middle and doesn't end until near the very end. And usually it's near the very end. And the problem I have with the sex scene, again, it goes on way too long. There's a small setup kind of setting things up, but once they start the sex, it just stops and just keeps going. Like, it's like the Energizer Bunny. It keeps going and going. And I think, oh, it's gonna end, it keeps going and going and going, and to the point where once they actually started the sex, once they got past the anal and Pazuri, I just completely blanked out and kind of skipped to the end of the sex scene. That's how long it was. I literally just got bored of that entire scene and skipped to the end. It's sex for sex sake. Granted, the story kind of needed that sex scene, but I think there should have been some kind of buffer, to kind of like cool us down and get ready for the second sex scene, like some kind of halftime, like they do when they talk about the anal, and they say, "Oh, it's not for me." Okay, that's fine, setting up for the Pazuri, and then but it doesn't last long enough to get us cooled down. Not to mention the anal kind of, I get where they were going for. I get what the author was going for the scene. Anal is not for everyone. It's like dark chocolate. It's not going to be for everyone. But, there's no reason that you should have tried it. And I think the story could have been better if it was better paced, like slower in parts. Like, I really think I really think the story could have been better if it was paced a little slower. There's also a little scene with Celestia. I also like that little scene because it gives us her. We actually get into her character. She's not gonna get involved into the into everything. She's just like, oh, okay, and then let her handle it. And then she's more reasonable in this time because if she gets involved, then it's literally gonna make matters worse. And also cause Reasonable Voice a better chance of winning. And everything. So that's it with the pacing. Would I recommend this story? Favorite part and final thoughts. Would I recommend this story? I have to recommend the story because, again, like I said in Dangerous Mix, you have to read the story in conjunction. You can't read one without the other. And so, if you read Dangerous Mix, you have to read Anniversary. And if you read Anniversary, you have to read Dangerous Mix. It's a 2-part story. I may not like the story as much as Dangerous Mix, but, you like to see, like, the scene where Reasonable Voice is, like, constantly getting frustrated over the fact that, nobody likes Tiara. Then, you might find some enjoyment, or probably the scene where Luna has a doll Reasonable Voice and like swings a battle axe at it, and Luna's kid is like, yay! And then Twilight joins in just randomly out of nowhere and said, less talking, more stabbing, ah! And she starts shaking the doll. Other than that, I don't really say anything. Maybe if you're a fan of sex, then go ahead. Do I have a favorite part? No. Again, this story is for the most part forgettable. The only parts I really liked were the parts with Reasonable Voice, despite the fact she didn't show up as much as she needed to show up to make the story work. Just seeing her constantly having to deal with all this bullshit, it's like, why isn't this working? Why isn't this goddamn working? Where it was enjoyable, especially the part. There's a part in the second chapter. Where is it? Okay, here it is. There's a part right before Luna is about to destroy the puppet. She talks to this Reasonable Voice talks to this very old elder unicorn called Ancient Text, and he's like stuttering, and he's like. And she's like, oh, you used to work for Celestia's School for Gifted Unicorns, and there's accent. And then, he was eventually, something was going to happen. It just happened to be him, and he kind of got, I guess, sort of PTSD from it. And she's like, well, he's a unicorn, so therefore he can tell the truth. And Ancient Text's like, truth? And then he says, and then Reasonable Voice says, yes, I want you to tell the truth about Diamond Tiara, and see if there's anything, that might. And then Ancient Text completely stops stuttering. He's like, well, I can tell you about the abuse following her. Out of all the students, that little brat has been the worst of all time. I can't tell you how many times she has slacked off, talked back, and basically been a rude little demon to every pony here. But regardless of how she behaves, Princess Luna refused to kick her spoiled plot out of here. I really love that one small paragraph because I thought that was a perfect use of mood whiplash. I thought that was perfect. And it's like, yes, I now have a unicorn. I'll be very good. And it's like, she's a bitch. And he's like, fuck. I just thought that scene was in a sort of unintentionally hilarious moment. I just think the author was trying to make it serious, but it just came off as so ridiculous. I couldn't help but laugh the first time I read it. So final thoughts. If there was anything I could change, it would just be making the story longer, giving more screen time to Tiara and Reasonable Voice, get rid of the honeymoon sex scene, and give us a buffer between the sex scenes in the spa. That's pretty much it compared to also, I actually would have liked to see. This is more wishful thinking than adding anything onto this because if there's going to be a third story, I can kind of see it going in this. At the end, where Filthy Rich is yelling, is kind of confronting Diamond Tiara, I actually would have liked to see a cutscene, kind of telling what happened during Granny Smith's funeral, because going back to the info dump, Granny Smith did pass away. However, something happened at the funeral by Diamond Tiara. They say it was the pink pony, but it wasn't Pinky. Which kind of makes it obvious it was Diamond Tiara, but we don't know what she specifically said. And based on what happened, it was this incident that kind of caused Diamond Tiara to go to Military Academy. And I really think that during that confrontation, it would have been very, very a good idea to literally add the flashback of what happened during that during the funeral, like what Diamond Tiara said, how she acted, that kind of caused her to be in this situation in the first place, and I think that would have rounded out that whole scene in a nutshell. But that was more wishful thinking. If there's going to be a third story, then you can easily just slot that scene in when Diamond Tiara possibly confronts Apple Bloom. But other than it's one or the other. So that's my review on Anniversary. I think it's an okay story. I just think it's mostly forgettable, especially compared to the previous story, which had such a good build-up. This one kind of just completely fell flat. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. This has been Dark Symphony 777, and